he's getting big paid in the city.
We're on. We're good.
Call roll, please.
Gearing. Jacobson.
Yes.
Sorry.
Here.
Schoenwald.
Here.
Jaden.
Yes.
Waltner.
Present.
Minutes of last meeting, regular meeting.
Move to accept. Second that.
Bob Blaine. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Vouchers.
So as you can see, we have a few. We worked, Lisa Edelman helped me do some work on the finance report, which was a hazard in the way we were trying to pay bills mid-month. Because of our system being an accrual system, it really goofed us up on our expense side of the finance statement. So she kind of went through and worked out a way that we believe we can pay these middle-of-the-month expenses, record them and track them, and then they'll actually drop up the next month's expenses.
They'll fall into next month instead
Yeah,
of,
our expenses are actually 2 months behind. Like October's finance report has
most of what's.
August's expenses and September's incomes makes up our October 1st finance report. So that's why those expenses were throwing such a kink into the,
So you can't really compare expenses.
It's not real time.
it's not real time.
Yeah. Well, you
So-
can if you bring in last month's. Charlie, if you'd bring in last month's
Yeah.
stuff, so.
So hopefully we can keep paying some mid-month. That would be really nice.
Yeah.
Any other questions on vouchers?
Motion to accept.
Second.
Call roll.
Sorry,
Yes.
Schoenwald.
Yes.
Jaden,
Yes.
Waltner,
Yes.
Jacobson.
Yes.
Financial report.
Motion to accept. Approve.
Second.
For a second.
Yeah.
Call roll.
Schoenwald,
Yes.
Jaden,
Yes.
Waltner,
Yes.
Jacobson.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes.
Public input. Is there anybody here that would like to, we have people in the library board is on the agenda, so I'm guessing.
Lawrence?
Mr. West,
Yes, sir.
did you have something you wanted to bring before the board?
Yeah, I just had a couple.
If you would, you could stand at the podium there, please.
Okay. How's everybody doing? My name's Lawrence West. We own the Whiskey House on Main Street. I just had some questions as to why my liquor license application hasn't gone through the process. When there's an open liquor license.
What were you
for sale.
advised to do when you talked to the finance officer? What were you told? Do you remember at all?
We were told that you guys have a standing agreement with the individual who held the license, which has no bearing on the South Dakota codified law governing liquor licenses.
Were you told to have your attorney talk to our attorney?
Yep, and we did.
Okay.
Yep, and we did.
And we have not heard back from our attorney yet, which I find really odd,
Okay,
because I get about 6 emails a day from him.
yep,
So when I hear back from him and gives us advice, we'll know what to do. But
Okay,
right
so-
now, as I understand it,
okay.
Mimi's, it's 90 days. She has 90 days.
Okay, but that's an agreement that you guys put in place with an individual that has nothing to do with the South Dakota codified law. And by the council not pushing my application forward, you guys are legally hindering me as a business owner to do what's within my legal South Dakota right, within the laws, to move forward.
I
So
understand.
that's all I'm saying, is if as the council, it's not gonna be addressed, that's fine, it doesn't matter to me either way.
Good.
As
Good.
business owners, we have
So as
attorneys
soon
as
as we hear
well, so.
from, as soon as we hear from our attorney, we'll let you know.
Okay, but tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, I'm gonna open an active lawsuit against the city of Freeman and all of its entities that have to do with that liquor license.
That's fine.
So as long as we're all under the understanding.
If your attorney contacted our attorney,
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
And I have not heard back
Yep.
yet from our attorney.
Right,
So you
But a-
have
but
to
a
do, you'll
contract-
have to do what you have to do.
absolutely.
If you wanna, if that's,
Right.
you're perfect right.
So I just want to make it clear that you guys are telling me that this contract that you guys put in place supersedes South Dakota codified law. That's all I need to get is a general understanding that you guys are
What
telling me.
I'm telling you is, I'm not a lawyer. We
Okay,
hire a lawyer. Okay?
right, but,
And I take his advice.
right,
So you have a complaint.
His advice is
And
gonna
I
get
understand you
this
have a
council
legitimate
sued.
complaint. And we told you to have your lawyer
which we did.
contact our attorney.
Right, so we're
And
just
I am
trying to
wait-
resolve it without having to go.
I don't
that route.
interrupt you, don't interrupt me. Do you understand that?
Sure, but I don't know who you're
Don't
addressing that
interrupt
way.
me.
I'm not a child, I'm a grown man.
Can I ask
Okay.
a question?
Sure.
Right now, we don't have any licenses available, right? Because of Mimi's?
No.
Absolutely you do. South Dakota state law states as long as there's not a legal standing establishment for them to house or sell liquor, they don't have a liquor license. So the city of Freeman currently has a liquor license, absolutely.
Okay, so you're saying.
They've had my
she's-
application, they've had my check for well over 4 weeks.
I'm just asking the question.
Yeah, absolutely,
Okay.
yep.
I'm not being defensive.
Yeah, no, absolutely, yep.
So you're saying because you have that building now and she doesn't have a building, that's what's changing?
Yeah, as long as they don't have a legal standing establishment in the state of South Dakota to sell and house liquor, they don't have a liquor license.
Okay, I
The-
understand what you're saying.
The
now.
fact that the legal, whatever entity of Freeman made an outside 90-day clause with this woman doesn't have any bearing on the South Dakota codified law, which is plain and simple. So with that knowledge, if the council isn't gonna push my application through or put it in the newspaper and follow the proper channels, you guys are knowingly hindering me from legally doing what I'm able to do as a business owner, which will result in, I mean, clearly we just discussed.
I totally understand that.
But-
As soon as we hear from our attorney,
All we're trying to do is acclimate into the community and open an establishment that they can use. And at every turn, from you, from Doug, from whoever these legal people are that you guys are saying, we've got nothing but hindrance. And I've pushed your hands 3 or 4 times to get to where I need to be so that I can do business now. And I just don't want to continue to do that. So it's going to come to a point where I'm just going to out the city of Freeman and we'll just sue the city. And then you two are the people that I've been dealing with individually, so I'll cite you and sue you individually as well because you guys are where I'm getting the knowledge from.
I'm telling you
Okay?
to have your attorney
Yes,
talk to our attorney.
yes, and they have. So
And
my
so it is in
attorney
their
advised me
hands. It
to
is
come
in their
back for
hands.
a
If you want
peaceful
to sue me, go
resolution.
ahead. That's
So I
your
came
business.
looking for a peaceful resolution.
Seriously?
Yes. You guys have had
When
my
I hear-
application for
when I
well
hear
over a
from-
month. That's adequate
I'm
enough
gonna say it
time
one
for
more
a peaceful
time. I'm gonna say it
resolution.
one more time, okay? Listen very carefully. When I hear from our attorney on what route
Okay.
to take,
Yep,
then I will approach the council.
okay.
And we'll make a decision at that time.
Okay, so what you're saying is you guys are gonna legally continue to hinder my legal business doings.
The city of Freeman's a municipality.
Okay?
Yeah, we can't do anything.
That doesn't matter, just because you're a municipality doesn't mean that you can in play.
We're a municipal liquor.
Right.
We're a municipal
That
liquor.
doesn't matter.
We loan the
Okay,
license
that
out.
doesn't matter, that doesn't mean
Yeah,
you
sure, we can say who gets it and who don't get it. We don't have to give one if we want.
Okay, you can, but.
We're going off the
being
state
that
law.
you
We're-
gave
we're
4,
municipal.
It doesn't matter. That
That
doesn't
does. Makes a
supersede the
big-
South Dakota codified law.
Sir,
Have your lawyer look up.
sir, you're not
We
an,
have,
Okay,
sir,
yeah.
you're not an attorney, nor am I, nor
okay,
am I.
okay.
We're gonna let the attorneys fight this out, okay?
Okay.
Your 5
Yep.
minutes is up.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much for coming.
Yep,
Appreciate it.
absolutely. I'll see you guys with a court injunction in the morning.
All right, what's next? Anybody else?
We can follow that.
Second reading ordinance speed limits. Everybody knows what that's about?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Call.
Terry, you had that second?
I thought so.
And Charlie, I marked you in at 6:35. That sound right? Okay. Gearing,
No.
Jacobson,
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes.
Schoenwald.
Yes.
Jaden.
Yes.
Waltner.
Yes.
What's the volunteer fire department?
That is
Approve the roster.
South Dakota Municipal League. Insurance just needs me to, no, not municipal. Yeah, the Workman's Comp Fund just needs me to acknowledge our volunteers. So I just have to state that I have a list of the rosters for the ambulance and the volunteer fire. And that's basically all I have to do, is just acknowledge our rosters, so,
Can you send me a copy of who we all got on those?
yeah.
They don't usually get copies.
Yeah, I thought we just.
Okay, I got a copy.
Just
right
send me
now.
an electronic, it's fine.
Okay,
I just like to know who's all on. But
You don't need a resolution
to, maybe, anybody want to give me a motion to acknowledge the rosters?
Yes, I will.
so it's in the
Second
records.
that.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. First reading ordinance 2021, repeal ordinance 2021-9, that has to do with cannabis. Am I correct?
Yeah, that one is the temporary cannabis ordinance that we put in,
That was before it even went into effect, right?
yes, on June 3rd was our first reading of the last one. So it was to prohibit licensing at that time.
And
So-
now we've got the other ordinance in place.
So now we have our full-time ordinance in place, and Fink said just come back and repeal the temporary ordinance. So,
We don't need a motion yet, it's first reading.
No, first
Is it
reading.
first reading? Is that-
yeah, that's just the first reading, so.
It's repeal. Final plat approval for a Westward View addition. You gonna change one, or?
And we don't have it. It never came, so there's really nothing to,
And, yeah.
unless Lonnie has something to add.
No. But, is it final? Have they platted, they haven't registered it down there yet.
No, and that's the step. They're finalizing it now, and they need to get it to the council.
Did they change state law or something? Because they were trying to go through the county commission, and the county commission has nothing to say with it. We approve it, and it goes to the register of deeds. The clock's ticking on it. I mean, November's the tax rollover. So,
I don't know.
First, actually.
that's what I said. So, I mean, but it's not our baby, right? It's theirs, developments.
Yeah,
So, you know, I mean,
Need to
They
throw it
want to get it
into.
done.
yes.
Yeah, they want to get it done, like, next week.
We can't sell anything till you have a legal description of everything, right?
Right, yeah.
And that is the issue right now.
And
They
is
can't- they don't have that yet.
that the engineering firm that's drawing that?
Yeah.
Up? Yeah.
so you're
They
saying
need
it
to
doesn't
hurry.
need to come through the council?
It's gotta come through us, not the county commissions. It was on the county commission's
Oh,
agenda last night, and they kicked it out because there was nothing there, but
So you're
they don't need to go through there. It goes from us to Register of Deeds.
Oh, just to the register of deeds then.
Right.
So are we gonna need a special meeting then for next week then to get that?
If they want it done before November 1st.
Yeah,
what is November 1st date line?
That's, what's the day on November 1st?
I mean, what is it, what is it?
That'd be Monday.
tax.
It's a Monday.
That's tax rollover.
Yeah, Chad had hoped to maybe have it for us today when you drew some things to our attention, and he knew it'd be really tight, so we put it on the agenda if it would be ready, and since Doug hasn't received it.
Well, I'm just saying that it's tight, so, but it's theirs. I mean, it ain't gonna stop it. It just makes a problem with the taxes, who owes what, pay what. Which isn't our problem.
Okay.
All right, well, we'll have to,
You'll be in the loop on that.
when we started this Westward View thing, we decided upon a commission, if you will, that was made up of 2 FCDC people, 2 council members, Carol, maybe the finance officer, I don't know. We've talked about it. but I've never gone through the actual putting it on the books here. And I'm gonna appoint Tabitha, and I'm gonna appoint, what's your name? Sorry.
Over there.
Usually when this stuff gets done, it needs to be done right away, and it's a matter of accessibility. So I'm gonna appoint them, and I'd want a resolution to confirm my appointments of those two.
So
In other words, okay, I'm sorry.
my name wasn't on there, so I had no problem.
You wanna know what you're signing up for?
Yeah, my
I
name
think
is.
the railroad didn't.
No idea what I signed up for. I'm sure we'll find out.
We'll find out
You
together,
first
Blaine.
and second?
Yep.
Better rip.
Jaden,
We're
Yes.
newbies.
Waltner,
Yes.
Gearing,
Yeah.
Jacobson,
Yes.
Sorry,
Yes?
Schoenwald.
Yeah?
Yes.
No, I'll tell you what you signed up for.
Okay.
Okay.
You know, it never hurts to be contrary.
It's called railroading. And because you weren't in on it, especially Tabitha, basically, any lot that gets sold on here has to be signed off by 2 members of the city council, 2 members of the development corporation. Okay, in other words, you know, today's not a problem, but in 5 years down the road, there's 2 lots left, and the development corporation wants their money, and they say, well, let's lower the price to 10,000. And we say, no, the city may think, no, we got money, we've got money invested here, we want to wait a bit. So we would have, since we're the developer, we want some say-so in this, and we're not just turning it over to the development corporation.
Okay.
And so when that meeting would be, it's not gonna be, I mean, if somebody wants to come in to buy a lot tomorrow, I mean, you probably say, it's not a problem. If somebody comes in and said, hey, we want to give you $40,000, we'll offer you $40,000 for that $50,000 lot. That would, if they would consider, if it gets that far, it would have to come through you 2 guys, 2 development corporation people, and so that type of stuff. Not that would happen, but
Okay.
it's just a way to checks and balances for both parties to be protected. All right, that's what you signed up for, it's not that bad. Is Paul coming tonight?
Yes.
Later, we'll skip on down.
Yeah, we told him 7.
Well, the library people are all here, we can skip on down to that.
Well, we've been here talking this before, but we still feel we want to continue that we have Crystal be a full-time position. We feel it's warranted, and it would be the best interest for the library. The library's been doing a lot of good stuff throughout the years, from the time we moved out to where we're at, and we're trying to keep moving forward. And Crystal has brought some energy to that, too. And this would just allow her a little more time to develop some other programs. So that is why we are here.
Yeah. Lonnie, I don't know, Lonnie, who was it, you and me, and Charlie was here? It was just the 3 of us,
Just
right?
3 of us, I think, Blaine.
As far as council, or as
Couldn't
far
make it that
as
night.
city people. We did meet with the library board, I don't know when it was, a couple weeks already, probably, 3 weeks. And we talked things over. And they presented their side, and I understand, from my perspective, in all avenues of city, I do not like full-time employees. I mean, it's not that I don't like them. I try to shy away from hiring full-time employees in as much as it creates a real burden on the city when you want to shift gears and so forth. You tend to get top-heavy and so forth. That's how I try to run everything, is not to get top-heavy. The other problem I have with it is, I mean, we're spending the budget is $150,000 to run the library. Leanne is our librarian and so forth, and a full-time employee, and she's working 31 hours, and I did have a problem with that. There's no way a full-time employee, to me, should be working 31. I'm glad that you actually, cost-wise, you're our second most expensive employee after Mr. Walter here. But I have, and all I'm saying is could some of that slack be picked up? I understand where you're coming from and so forth. I totally do. But I guess what I'm saying is if the full-time employee works full-time 5 days a week, couldn't we try that? Is that gonna pick up enough slack before we go, you're adding 30 hours basically? And that's my issue.
But we lost more than that, because we lost Ann's
That's right.
position
We
was
lost,
was
which-
over
which
20.
Could be replaced very easily.
Could, but we've got a good person that's in there and can take, and she's willing to
I
pick up those
understand.
hours that we're losing.
I understand, Chuck. What I'm
And
saying is
I-
that could that 10 hours that we're gonna ask a full-time employee now, Dan basically, to work 40 hours a week, where how is that gonna, I know what they want, and I totally get it. But I'm saying, have you tried this way yet? Have you tried with the 40 hours
We're
here
still gonna
and
be
bringing
short.
in?
We're still gonna be short, because Ann had more than the hours that Leanne would make up on the 8 if we did that. So we're still gonna be short, and that means Crystal, or we're gonna have to hire another person, and I don't feel that that's the right way to go, because we have a person who's doing part-time in 2 places. Crystal's working in 2 jobs in 2 places to make her, and that's her choice. But I think we need to look at offering her the full-time position so she can actually put 100% into the library and expand the programs as she is. And I think we need to look at our employees that's not just part-time, because it's the most efficient way. We have to value them as employees and as people that are working. And the best workforce you have is one that you take care of. And you don't find part-time people who are gonna give 100% because they're gonna be looking for that full-time job. So if we have a good person, they're looking for a full-time job if they're doing a part-time job, and we're gonna lose them. So to get a good quality, I think we need to go a full-time position. And I really do think that that's important.
Lonnie, what did you take away from the meeting?
Just what you said. I guess I agree with Charlie, though. I don't think it would hurt to try the programs we got more kids in school, and we're trying to sell big lots, and I really think we need to make it so people want to move to Freeman, and not just, real people, professionals that would want to move here. We got the golf course, we got everything. We don't want to lose it, because the town's doing okay. We're holding water, which I guess in modern day and age for small towns, that's all right. And our school is going up in population, which is excellent. We have people from West Virginia, from Maryland, Illinois down there, California. Granted, not all of them want the library. Like I said at that meeting, I don't go to the thing. My wife and grandkids do, but that's it. I don't mean to call it just a thing. I don't go to it, all right?
Yeah, I'm going there on Mondays to take some Spanish classes, very nice.
That library got
Yeah,
us
very nice
driver's
facility.
license back.
Is there, I'm just looking at it as a business, and that's probably not the correct way to look at it in some aspects, but if there's 2 full-time people, how many part-time people are there now? Take away
We have 2 right now.
is that counting Crystal?
No, that's not count. 2 others besides Crystal.
So would they still be there even after, if we decide to hire another full-time one, they would be there also?
Yes.
Yes.
At the same financially.
Their hours, if we hired another part-time, their hours wouldn't change, the other part-timers.
Okay.
Because Crystal's filling in the part-time that we were losing, which was almost the amount that Ann was working.
And to allow Crystal a little more time to work on programming, myself and the part-timers are gonna kind of pick up what Ann was doing, so we're not putting more burden on Crystal to cover her shift and do more programming. So we're all kind of picking up the ball a little.
It also gives them a little bit, having the part-time there also gives them, if there's a person sick or holiday or vacation time, that they're covered.
So have we figured out how much, out of the budget it would go? I guess, I think we,
Well,
We did at
If we kept,
one meeting.
if we kept that Leanne at her present hours of 32, which is what she's hired at and should be doing, and put Crystal full-time and left everything as was, I think it added 22,000?
28, wasn't it?
Well, 28 was with Leanne going to full 40 hours.
Oh, okay.
And then we took that equation out, because I think that bumped everything up about $8,000.
so they both would be putting 40 hours in?
No, Leanne would be putting her 32 in, and Crystal would be putting her 40 in.
Just so you know, I'll never let that fly. That's up, you guys make a decision. There's no way. There's no way.
I guess personally think we're looking at this all the wrong way. You guys are sitting around here trying to put a value, a price on education for kids. You're telling me we waste how many dollars on a swimming pool? We don't bat an eye at it. We've wasted how many dollars on a golf course? We don't bat an eye on it. But when it comes to building programs for the youth of this town, now all of a sudden we're worried about $22,000, $27,000? I guess I just don't get it. So what's the value of all these other things that we're losing money on that you're gonna say, well, I don't wanna spend money on it? So what are you telling our kids? You're not worth the money we're gonna spend on this. I think we're looking at it the wrong way. I think we need the position because I think it can bring a lot of value to our youth of this town. And that's what we're here for, is to provide for the youth of this town to go forward, to take over our spots in the future. So, that's
Terry, I don't, I agree with everything you say. I think we both want to get to the same spot. This is how we go about it.
But I don't see how we do it without her not being able to do the programs and being allotted the time.
How?
Because if she leaves, those
How does-
programs are gone.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, how do you have the head librarian? Now, how do you have a full-time employee that doesn't work full-time?
I'm not disputing that.
That's where my
not
comment
what
came from.
I'm here to talk about adding another full-time position. That's what I'm talking about, that we're talking about not going to another full-time position.
I get that. But that's not just what came out of Charlie's mouth. Charlie just stated what the hours,
And I did
and
that.
that is where I
Yes.
said, and I'm not picking on Leanne here.
No,
And if you want to bump her up to 40, she'll do it, that's fine.
I don't know how you can have a full-time employee receiving insurance and not giving us hours.
And that's how she was hired.
Yeah.
That was bad.
Whatever was before was before. I'm not crabbing about what was.
Well, you are in a way, because you're still throwing it back out there, and that
But
was
what I'm saying is you cannot have the person in charge working 32 hours. And that's what came out of, that's what I heard you say.
I did say that, that's true. Because
And
that's what she was hired.
I said, I won't let that fly, is the.
Then we'll put her to 40, that's fine.
Yeah.
And
That's fine.
we can kind of discuss that maybe in executive too, maybe a little bit on that, but if Crystal, what is it, the programs that you do? I mean, just so I have a, somewhat of an understanding,
Currently,
Yeah, And what,
Can
and,
you hear
and,
me?
yeah.
I mean, I don't need to step.
And what can you, and what are you going to offer more, I guess, with, with the extra time?
If you could, Sam, because on TV, they might not be able to hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have kind of a song.
Thank you.
So, currently, I do a preschool story time, and I am offering that to an in-house program in the library that area children come to.
Mhm.
And I have also expanded that to, now we're doing twice, I'm going to do outreach story times at the Growing Dreams Learning Center. So that was an expansion from the in-house once a month story time.
So you'd be going there?
I am going there.
Okay.
Yeah, this is something that's currently
Mhm.
being done.
Okay. Good.
Okay, so for preschoolers, there's also 1,000 books before kindergarten program, which was in place when I started, and it's been kind of limping along.
Mhm.
I would love to give it a refresh, but at this point, yeah, I don't have the capacity to do that.
Mhm. Okay.
So, but that does fall under the preschool area. For the school-aged children, which to me is kindergarten through 5th or 6th grade, we have 2 programs. We have a Lego club at Lego Builders Club, meets again once a month. For a time pre-COVID, we were doing it twice a month, but coming back into it right now, we're focusing on once a month. We've had it twice now, really good attendance, 30 kids plus, which allows for no social distancing whatsoever in that room.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's good. And then we also, something that started when I came on was a STEAM program,
Mhm.
which is science, technology, I'm gonna forget. Art.
Electronics.
Engineering.
Yeah.
Okay, I have to go in order. Science, technology, engineering, art, and math. And so these programs incorporate aspects, not every single aspect every single time, but it always hits at least 1 or 2 of those different aspects. And that's also a once-a-month program for the school-aged kids. So that's what I'm doing
Mhm.
right now. When I was hired, I was also told that they would like to start something for the youth, the tweens, the teens, because that is a very underserved population
Mhm.
right now in our library. And again, at present moment, I don't have the capacity to do that.
And what would that consist of? I mean, what do you think, what are you, I guess, what's your vision of doing something with the teenage
We have a
group?
few ideas
Mhm.
as adults.
Sure, sure.
My hope would be to start what's called a teen advisory board to get that age group, teens and tweens, a few of them to give their input as to what they would like to see, because we can come up with wonderful programs,
Mhm.
but if they're not interested, it's not going to do any good.
Mhm.
Some ideas we had, without putting it past anybody in that age group, are like a adulting 101 type of class, or series of classes perhaps. Maybe a cooking for college type of class.
Mhm.
What else do we have?
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't mean to put you on the spot, I'm just,
But,
yeah, that's good.
Art gallery thing?
Oh, yeah, the mini art gallery thing where they would do a small size painting and then we would display it in a really
Yeah, we have an art viewing.
neat way, yeah. But something to get their, capture their attention and
Mhm. Okay,
give
yeah.
them something to do.
And would that be a once a month thing then too, or are you
I
thinking?
would anticipate. And I'm not sure if you could combine the teens and the tweens together, because they
It's
are
in the office.
Different.
different.
Yeah. They're
There's
different.
a lot of difference between a senior in high school
Reese.
and a
Dr.
sixth or seventh grade.
Dr. Reese.
Oh,
So possibly we could be looking at 2 more programs
Okay.
with those 2 different age groups.
Does Freeman Academy have a library? I don't know.
Yes.
They do.
Freeman Academy does.
Yes,
Because
yes,
public,
Griever is their
public
librarian.
does not have a librarian, I do not believe. So here is another opportunity for even our school to get with our school children to push more for an avenue in this direction. I've talked to a lot of people, and I've heard of some things that people would love to see for our teenage kids that are getting ready to go to college. A lot of these kids have no idea what jobs are out there and what it takes to do those jobs, or to have any kind of job shadowing. There's a lot of schools out there that do this, and it's mostly done through their school librarian and their
Guidance
guidance
counselor.
counselors. Thank you. But we don't have that at Public that I know of, and I don't know if Academy has that kind of program going on either, but here we have the opportunity to service both schools in a very positive way. And for me, I think it's a no-brainer to go forward and to start offering these programs to put us on the map that's above other towns. You have, like Lonnie said, you start attracting professional people here with kids that have academic careers that are very smart and looking for something. They hear about a program like that this town offers to their kids. Man, people dive on top-rated schools and top-rated programs like that to live in those towns. That's only gonna raise our tax base, so.
And regardless of what we do, we still, if we don't hire her for this, we're gonna still have to hire somebody for 20 hours part-time regardless.
And possibly lose the programs that we have now.
Correct.
By doing this, you gain the continuity of having somebody who's here every day, who's able to answer questions and plan 5 days a week versus 2 days a week. So,
Anybody else?
Well, I'm gonna make a motion that we make that position as a full-time position at 40 hours benefits.
I'll second that motion.
Call roll. Mr. Gearing's abstaining.
Waldner,
Yes.
Jacobson,
Yes.
Sorry,
Yes.
Schoenwald,
Yes.
Jaden.
Yes.
And then we'll discuss the other in executive. We'll discuss the other,
Yeah. Yeah, right.
As far as starting time and.
the hours worked, the hours worked.
We'll see how they all.
The expectations for
that's-
Leanne's
Oh,
hours.
Yeah.
I think Sherry knows those expectations before she.
Okay,
leaves here now,
just, yeah.
so.
Just, we don't need to hash it out right now, so.
Thank you, board, for coming. Thank you, Leanne and Crystal, for coming.
Thank you for the time.
Anything else,
To
girls?
make up those sheets with what you did every day, minute per minute. Holy cow.
Yeah, that was impressive.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you, guys. It took a while to do that.
Oh, I said girls. I'm sorry, Dr. Reese. I didn't mean to. Did you have something you wanted to bring before the council other than the library?
Supporting the library.
I know you're on the board, so I presume.
Recognize this?
Long ago.
Mr. Corn? I think there's 3 avenues or 3 questions we have. Or you want to share with us first what you have, and then there were 3 basic things we need to
Sure, yeah. So just a little bit of a update on the status of the project. I met with the mayor and with Blaine Sari and Doug and Carol. Was that, when did we meet? Was that last week?
Thursday.
Last Thursday, yep. So gave them a little bit of a status update and provided some copies of the plans. We provided 3 copies of a set of our construction plans as they are currently, in their current condition, and we're indicating that they're about 60% complete for design. So the actual design is probably a little bit further along, but we do have some work to do putting together the bid documents and things like that, but we're basically calling these 60% complete. So basically our goal is to get to 100% complete by mid-December, so we would be in a position to bring that forward to the council in end of December or early January to advertise it for bids, with the goal of advertising it for bids the end of January or the first week of February. So that's our goal, to get to 100% complete by mid-December. And to do that, there's some aspects of the design that we need further direction from on the council. And one of those items goes back to the intersection improvements that have been discussed in various meetings and open houses with regards to some of the intersection improvements and ADA ramp improvements and incorporating some of the exposed aggregate sidewalk in the business district, as well as the historical lighting in the business district. So I guess the question is, has that officially been approved, that we can move forward with that and include that in the design? Or you're just looking for a firm direction on that, because like I said, we want to get to a point where we're wrapping up.
It hasn't been officially approved, but it's not like this Rochester one, right? The ones you guys were talking about, the plows can go right.
Right,
Correct.
Lenny, that was included only to show what exposed
Right.
aggregate
That's
looks like.
when we get to that, I got a
So,
question on that too.
Yeah.
Yes, please know that there are no sharp corners or edges on the design Paul put together.
So it can just,
Yeah, so the curb will basically zero out at the intersection, so all around the bulb of the intersection will be basically flush pavement with the street concrete, so.
what do you think, Dewey?
I think the photos are compliments of Mr. Sari.
The one is here, yeah.
Just
I
that
had a-
one.
Yeah, I think I had some of.
I kinda like the design, I just don't wanna have any problems with moving snow, water sitting there to melt, freeze, and make a problem. Busting it up like this over here on
Well, that's why we,
Third.
Have a streetscaping team.
right,
to
that they,
address all.
they kind of changed the flow of where the water will actually go. It goes away from that area, it actually
From the
goes,
curb.
right. it
Yeah,
goes
so that's-
Goes towards the center of the street.
By utilizing this kind of a design where we're putting in those intersection enhancements, in addition to that, we're proposing to slope the pavement out away from the sidewalks, so there'd actually be what we'd call basically a valley gutter at the rear of the cars, adjacent to the main drive aisle. So the water would flow not against the curb by the sidewalk, but would flow in the valleys, adjacent to where these,
How far from the curb is that?
about,
So maybe 6 feet is.
it'd be about 12 feet away from the curb.
Is it Phillips or Dakota? One of them downtown have it that way, right?
Phillips.
Wow.
Phillips has it.
Yeah, see, and I looked at Phillips and,
Most
you can hardly
plows
tell.
follow 20.
No, it's very subtle. You have to look for it
Well, I
to
don't-
even
yeah.
notice
I
it.
don't
And
know.
so there's several places in downtown that
And the plow goes like
have
that.
it, and so,
He's sounding like this, basically.
They're discussing how it's gonna plow.
I think the concern is that the
That's
blade
well,
hangs on to
that's
the
well.
apron of the street.
And
It's sloped, right,
and
it's
so you
sloped here,
pack-
and then it's sloped here coming into it. If the blade is longer than this slope from the curb over, the corner of that blade is gonna gouge into our street or cut it, whatever, and over time, that's gonna break it up. So the concern is, you slope it away, it's gotta be wide enough for our blades,
so, yeah, so you've got
right?
you've got 12 foot of pavement adjacent to the curb, basically, and then you've got basically your main line is, your drive aisle on the main street basically is 14 foot wide. So you've got 14 foot on the main drive, and then you've got 12 feet in the parking area, or 14 foot in the parking area because it's angled. So basically a plow with a 12-foot blade, usually those are a little bit at an angle, so you're not going to be gouging into the valley.
We have a reversible, and there are times, a lot of times, where we also use the blade to do this. And the blade does a very nice job of it, because you need that down pressure in order to take some slush, and
Yeah.
particularly when the temperatures are in the freezing area.
And, took a walk down Phillips Avenue, it's about 4 blocks from our office, and I was trying to pay attention to that valley. I did not see any evidence of wear and tear or gouging in the pavement or anything like that.
You can hardly notice it if you look at it. I mean, you really gotta look for
Yeah.
it to
But I mean,
see
that's
it.
just a concern.
Right,
Yeah.
no, I get it, Terry. Yeah.
Would not there be a valley someplace?
Well, it's a,
Up against the curb.
The valley would be against the curb.
3 foot off.
Well, I like the idea of it going
You'd
out.
run it all the way.
People are getting out of their
It's
vehicles
like
and slipping on ice.
2 foot flats.
My concern is the gouging, plus if it's too close and the blade leaves the valley full as
Yeah.
it goes.
Yeah, and then when you
You know
get
what
to
I'm
the
saying?
corner, you have a hump there, so there's an awful lot of transitions
There are,
in elevation in what you're proposing here.
yeah, but you're probably looking at multiple passes with the blade anyway. So you're gonna make a pass with the blade where the parking is, so that's on one elevation. You're gonna make a pass with the blade where the drive aisle is, so that's another elevation. So everything is on a level plane when you're making a pass. It's just that those breaks are occurring at the pass.
Right, but then when you get to the corner, you're going up and over it too. Correct?
Well, at the corner, basically, is where the intersection curbs are gonna be zeroing out to nothing, basically. So, yeah, you'll be sweeping out the snow from around the corners and around the radiuses.
let me just ask you
Correct.
this is a proven design. I mean, we're not the
Yeah,
first here.
this is, very common design, and these intersection enhancements are
It's just
being.
new, so we're not used to it.
We're not
There's
breaking.
gonna be a learning curve, a learning process to moving snow. So, yeah.
It's also gonna be more expensive than running a straight plane down the street, because obviously, there's a lot of elevation transitions here, and that's gonna cost more money.
It sounds like it's very minor, though. I mean, it doesn't have to be like a steep curve to
No.
get the water to run away from the sidewalk.
But when you set your paver to grade, you can set it once and drive 3 blocks, or you're gonna be running to every corner, change corner.
And I think some of it is, this does come with obviously some positive benefits to pedestrians who are using Main Street during a rain event, during snow and ice accumulation, things like that. So I think you gotta weigh those factors as well and say, is this an improvement for cars parking on Main Street and pedestrians getting out of their cars and accessing the stores, and pushing that water and ice, away from the curb where people are crossing it, I think is a positive step.
So essentially, there should be no pooling by the curb.
No.
I'll love not having to jump over
Yeah.
a pool to
Well, I mean,
get to
just
work.
think of the safety aspect of, where some of us still can step
Problem.
further and others can't.
Fall freeze.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't disagree with that, with the drainage back of the vehicle and stuff. As long as our plows aren't gonna damage it and it costs us more money down the road. I mean, like you said, this is probably a proven point somewhere else, this has been done elsewhere, they don't have those issues. The only thing I don't agree with on this whole thing is just the extending curbing at the intersections. I think it's unnecessary money being spent. That will cause an issue eventually. As you can see, the one that we have over here on Third and Main already, it looks like hell. I applaud whoever decided to dress it up this year, because it's the first time in 8 years since I've been here that somebody actually put something on that corner.
Made it look a little better than it
Made
did.
it look a little bit better, but
That was Bob Peedy, credit
Oh.
to Bob Peedy, but that is not what these curb extensions will be like
Really
at
no
all.
curb on them.
Just
yeah.
so you know.
but they're flat. Why are they flat?
They go
They
to
have zero
grade.
entry, zero grade. How far?
So-
How far are they gonna extend out?
So the curb will transition from full curb at the sidewalk down to a zero curb at about
12 feet out?
At about 12 feet out, yes. So there is a
That's
transition.
It's a parking space.
Yeah, it's about the depth of a parking space. And then as you go around the bulb of that, it's all, you know,
So it
Yeah,
adds
great.
visibility too for safety for pedestrians and motorists.
We don't even
So-
have safety for pedestrians to get to Main Street. So I would rather spend the money to get.
Well, we had a public,
sidewalks.
oh, excuse me, Terry, I'm sorry, I thought you were done.
No, that's fine.
Sorry. We had a public meeting about this, and we had quite a few people here, 20, 30, 20 people here. There were three things that came up. One was financial, one was sustainability, and one was the snow issue. And I said, we'll put a committee together and we'll see if we can find a compromise. The original drawings that we had trees and everything else, and there was concern about sustainability. There's no vegetation in our plans now. So we took care of that. Financially, what we're looking at is negligible,
110.
dollars and cents is really, it's very negligible in the whole thing. The snow thing, I think we took care of pretty well. So that's what compromise looks like.
That was every year.
We put a committee together, and they came up, they had a compromise, they had some bigger plans also, and we kept on saying, you know, we needed to reach a compromise, and I thought I thought it was a pretty good compromise. People for it, there's always gonna be people against it. We took care of the snow, we took care of the sustainability, because there is no vegetation. Financially, we're not doing anything extraordinary here.
They would have a place to put planters if they choose to do so. You know, there'd be a place for them if you wanted to.
Or benches later on, if they
Yep,
want,
if they
everything would be
wanted to.
removable. There's nothing permanent, Blaine, on those.
Exactly.
That would be, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, the summary list is in front of you, how all of those
So-
items were addressed.
Mhm. I'm just trying to find them.
How far would this exposed aggregate, is that still part of the equation, the exposed aggregate, or?
Yes, that's
Talk
part
about
of
that
the,
for a
that's
little
part of
bit.
this discussion as well. And so from Railway to Fifth Street, Railway to Fifth Street is where we're proposing to do the exposed aggregate. It's 3.5 foot wide, basically back of curb. So you'd have your sidewalk right now from storefront to back of curb is about 9.5 foot wide. So you'd have 6 foot of regular concrete sidewalk and then 3.5 feet of the exposed aggregate sidewalk right back of curb.
Will it be in a continuous plane, or will it have a different?
There would probably be some fluctuation in the elevation, so, because we need to make sure we're providing an ADA sidewalk for the 6%, or for the 6 foot wide sidewalk, that can't exceed a 2% cross slope. And as we try to achieve some of the elevations that we need, this 3.5 feet provides a transition area so that the slopes will probably exceed 2% in some areas, but it won't be real steep.
So there will be variations irregardless of whether we use a exposed aggregate or whether it's regular cement.
And that's the other thing that these kind of, features provide, basically, is it alerts the pedestrian that, hey, something's different here. So you've got your 2% sidewalk slope, but yet you got a change in elevation. That's the sidewalk steeper than 2%, so that's these different concrete textures, different colored concrete. Notify the pedestrian that, hey, this is not as an ADA sidewalk here.
How does that last?
I guess I haven't heard any issues with it deteriorating faster than anything else. So I've talked to some contractors in Sioux Falls who have done that, and they feel that the colored sidewalk needs some maintenance with regards to sealing it, and they says this doesn't require any sealing, so.
How is it for shoveling snow? Because if it's like the bumps, those little square pads that are in the corners,
Yeah.
that's not shovel. That's horrible to shovel.
Yes, and obviously those are raised
Yeah,
domes within those areas. This is a smaller aggregate, it's a 1/2 to 3/4 inch aggregate, And so it's pretty minor, the roughness of it,
Because
so.
also shoveling on chip seal that was just put down on the first year, it does not shovel.
Yeah,
It's so rough and coarse. That's my concern. I like the looks of it, but I'm really fearing the snow removal and shoveling, because if you can't shovel it off real good, and it's a wet snow, you know what's gonna happen. It's gonna be packed in and it's gonna become ice.
Those are pictures from Rochester where they do receive quite a bit of snow, and they're careful about making sure their streets and sidewalks are cleared.
Yeah,
Accessible.
but it's a matter of doing it. In between snowstorms, you get wind blowing and there's solid snow that drifts in, you have to go shovel
You're
off
also
once in a
looking at
while.
a city with manpower 10 times more than what we have.
It's-
I realize that.
It's just you know, and we kind of talked about this too, is the sustainability of it. It does, you know, wear good. You know, it shovels good, you know, because concrete you'd have to shovel also. You know, if it's colored or whatever, you have to use colored concrete, you have to seal it every 2 years, you know, or else it turns colors. So the cost of this was.
27,000.
Yeah, it was, in comparison of the upkeep of colored cement. or
I don't question that. I don't, smooth or regular concrete will definitely shovel easier than this, because it's
Well, I
similar
don't,
surface.
so this summer I was on a trip and we walked across an awful lot of this kind of stuff, and it is not, you know, obviously that's been in place for a significant amount of time there. And there is definitely spalling there,
Mhm.
where the rock becomes dislodged and comes out.
How does it handle ice
Because of
melt?
scraping,
Pardon?
because of scraping and ice melt and all that, or?
Well, I don't
How does,
know.
how does the aggregate handle ice melt?
it would be the same as basically concrete, as long as you've got, you know, proper air entrainment in there and it's good quality mix, it should hold up just as well. So, and those are,
I guess.
those are tests that we do during placement to make sure that that concrete is meeting those requirements, so.
Does
The other
the
thing-
sticker get mixed in with the concrete? I mean,
Yeah, so you basically have to order the concrete with natural aggregate versus quartzite rock. And so then, you know, they place the concrete like they normally would, and then they basically brush the mortar off the top to expose the aggregate, so. The other thing I would recommend that we do is we would require the contractor to provide a sample, to actually do a 6-foot by 6-foot sample before we do this, so everyone could look at it and say, I mean, it would be part of the plans, that, you know, the city would review this basically and, you know, we can make any adjustments to the mix if we have to go to a little
Would there
bit.
be a variation in thickness then over the regular cement? Because if you're using round rock and you don't have the fractured faces, you're losing strength.
All of the sidewalk on Main Street is proposed as 6-inch sidewalk. In the intersections, we're gonna bump it up to 8-inch sidewalk to match where, you know, cars could cut corners. So, most sidewalk is typically 4-inch thickness, so we're going with pretty beefy sidewalk on Main Street,
Well, that's
so.
good, because we put a skid loader or something on there, you want a heavier sidewalk anyway to carry that weight. You can
Yeah.
Use that to clean.
Yeah,
In addition to providing a visual cue for pedestrians, the streetscaping team was also looking for an inexpensive way to add an aesthetic element, so when we're all done, the street doesn't just look like a brand-new 1953 street. So it does add visual appeal without all the other elements, you know, that were in some of the original proposals.
When we took all of the concerns, the committee did, and kind of tried to form a plan that we could present to the council that you would agree on. And we didn't want just to, like Carol said, just to put cement down and make it look like it did. You know, we're spending $3.5 million-ish. And we wanted to make it look like we spent that money.
I think,
You
yeah.
know,
I think
With very
compromise is
little.
the good way to summarize it,
Yeah,
basically.
we-
This was a compromise based upon the input.
And I'll be honest, I played devil's advocate. They asked me what I thought of the bump outs, and I said, I'm not for them. I'm not for them. And so then we went to work and made them not a bump out. Okay?
There isn't a bump at the end of the bump out.
Right, exactly, exactly. So, because, I mean, I had citizens come to me and say, you know, you can't let that happen, you can't let that happen. Well, that was that first drawing. You know, you go, and then all they're thinking of is what had happened in the past on Main Street. I agree, we can't let that. I was just showing Terry some pictures of the corners, and we don't have do we have a drawing of what it would look like now?
I do, I could print them out quickly.
Or just show
I
it.
didn't that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, so you can see, Terry.
Put it up
Wanna jump
So my
off?
question is when we push all the snow to the middle of the street, and that bump out is there, where is the car supposed to drive in your snow and a driving lane?
It's as much room,
So how much of a how safe is that for pedestrians when they'll pretty much take that extended curb, I wouldn't even call it a bump out,
thank you.
to drive over top of it because there's snow in the way of the driving path? Because all of our snow gets pushed to the middle of Main Street, all of it. And they don't have time to come and pick it up until after they've done all the other streets in town. So,
No.
that's how safe is that extended curb at that point in time?
Well, I mean, if traffic is getting out over that far to the right, basically, it would pretty much be flush sidewalk that they would be driving over, the thickened sidewalk. The other thing is we have
You're picking
pulled
sides
those, lack of a better word, bump outs back quite a bit, so that way that throat basically, as you see it there, is as wide as Sixth Street right now. So it's pretty generous width, so,
I think the answer, Terry, is I gotta drive over them.
Well,
I don't think it's gonna hurt
but
anything.
they're designed
It ain't gonna
for
hurt
it.
anything.
Yeah.
But I'm hearing.
That's why we did it that
I'm
way.
hearing safety for pedestrians, that's not safe if they're driving over them. Because the car comes down and they lose control because it's slushy or icy, and there's a pedestrian standing on that thinking that they're safe,
Oh, I don't think,
who wins?
I think when you got in that situation, I'm not so sure.
Well, I'm just, wondering,
Everybody's on their
how many
own when
times
you
do we
got that kind of
do
weather.
that a year? 8 times,
Not even.
tops, eight times a year, snow.
To the middle of the street. We didn't do it that many times last year.
Depends what kind of winter you.
And I get that, I'm just curious that we're really concentrating on that. And I get it, Terry, I totally get it. I don't know what to
And like
tell
I said,
you.
that's the only issue of the design that I have. The aggregate, I think, is fine, I think it makes the street look nice, and I think that if you rounded the corners with a zero, round just normal corners, I think that'd be perfect, that'd be great.
It did give
Because it's
us,
wheelchair accessible, and it's a safety concern for trip hazards and stuff, and that concern, not for the extended curve,
okay,
so.
and I am obviously. Which is fine, you.
That's why we're all on here.
Exactly, so we put they got the lighting there that the committee picked, and that allows us to put that there, and it allows the store owners to put anything else that they might want, a planter or something there too. It just, it just gives it more aesthetics, it looks nicer, and I do think in the summer and spring and fall, where most of our time would be spent, walking, it would essentially make it easier for the elderly or handicapped or, just to get around, I don't know, I don't know if there's a way to make it without protruding out like that, a zero grade access,
as far,
I guess I don't mind it if it's not gonna, if alls it is relearning how to plow, and it's not gonna.
And we had that in mind, Lonnie, is because if you notice, it's very gradual, and you gotta see that too, that you should be able to just be a gradual, it's no sharp corners or angles or, any 45, 90-degree angles there, it's just a nice gradual with the snowplow. Is it different? Absolutely, it's different. you know, it definitely will be a learning curve.
So at what point is it zero to the street? How far from the curb is it zero? So where that,
The yellow?
yeah,
The yellow,
The yellow.
as what,
How
the
far?
yellow was highlighted to indicate basically where the zero. the
but what I'm
flush curve
saying
would
is,
be.
okay, where it hits the zero on the street, how far would it be from where the curb actually is then? Is it 4 feet out if you ran a straight line?
If you look at the length of pickups, it's not that
Not sure if I'm
much
following your question.
farther.
Are you coming out from the light pole out towards the street? Is that what you're saying there? Is that how far?
Yeah, basically what I'm saying is from this point here, how far is it to where you get to the curb? Where does it zero, or zero at this point?
That,
Yep.
Is that about 6 foot out from the curb by the time it hits zero?
It's probably about 10 foot out from the curb.
Okay.
So, yeah,
So it's 10 foot, so
yeah.
10 foot from the curb is where it'll be at zero.
Yeah, yeah, and you can see the tapering occurring at zero, tapering.
And that's how far from where you pointed back, was, I'm just curious how far back that went, not,
So the taper is a 6-foot taper, basically. And then from the full curb would probably be, so you got 6
Yeah.
foot, so you probably have another 6 foot
Another
full
foot,
curb in
so-
there. Yeah,
so it's about 12 foot by the time it's at
Yeah.
zero.
yeah.
And the intent of the extension, as I understand it, it helps visibility. So right now, you can be pretty far out onto Main Street before all of a sudden you see a vehicle
The
coming.
parked
over
car
the
there,
hill.
you know, essentially.
It blocks, cars
So
block.
how wide is the actual street from curb to curb? 60? Huh?
Originally?
Now,
No.
that,
It's,
from curb to curb,
I gotta look that up a second here.
And as he does that, if you look at the picture in front of the spot in front of the et cetera shop where that curb comes out in relation to the back of the vehicle that's parked there, you can tell you're not tightening up the street a lot farther.
60 feet, yeah,
60 feet, so
60.
24 feet from 60 leaves you
38,
30,
36.
36 feet, right?
Yeah,
So that view can give you a pretty good idea right there.
It's in the pixelate.
so that, yeah, so you got 36 foot, so you got basically 18 from center line of the road to where the full curb, to where the curb starts transitioning up.
And the plow is 14.
Our hours, the trucks are 12, maintainer, the one on the payloader, maintainer 16.
And the payloader's what?
12,
Well, and you use the payloader mostly down Main Street.
unless you get a lot of snow in there.
You can tilt the maintainer's adjustable.
16 wide, you can't cut a 16 foot path with it.
It's hard to imagine it without, you know, really seeing it. And I wish I had some picture.
Yeah, I guess from my viewpoint, you know, when we started all this, I guess I was looking, you know, didn't realize we were gonna get on that. And we kept getting into this and so forth, and really what it is, and I've been to a couple Canastota and so forth, you know, and basically, you know, we can build an airport runway, and that's basically what it's gonna look like. And I'm just hoping, and my hope is always, in all aspects, that we can just do a little better, that we could, you know, we can do something that, I took care of the concerns and so forth, and maybe just be a little bit better, you know, just, not much, but I really think these enhancements, and the committee wanted a whole lot more, but I just think it's very doable.
Well, I
It's
was
very
totally-
doable and
I was
make a real
totally
big difference,
against it,
Lonnie.
But I think this is an excellent compromise.
You what?
I was totally against the curb outs,
Mhm.
but I think this is a good compromise.
That's what we were trying to do, Lonnie, and
I mean, we were just
Back and
arguing over
forth.
a library and the future of Freeman and et cetera, and then, I mean, this is no different. I mean, yeah, it is different, but, you know, I mean, when you come to town and To me, I can drive down Main Street and it really don't look bad until I pick these pictures up,
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that something?
you know?
Yeah.
Folks at home don't have those because it would
must
be
be
good
good.
PR for us.
Must be the,
Excellent photographer, huh?
I think it is.
No, it's.
but I mean, 68 years,
It,
So I think what we need,
it's a long time.
I'm gonna dare say that we go ahead with the, I would want a motion, I think, to approve the plans, correct me, Paul, the plans as we've been given?
Yeah, I would say the plans indicating the intersection enhancements and
And
exposed aggregate. Yeah.
Is if there's somebody that wants to make a motion to that.
I would just like to say one thing
Sure,
prior to that.
please.
Is that I just want the council to know that there was a lot of consideration and the words, and when I said that, there's one word that we all need to be in the back of our minds, is that's compromise, compromise. So take the good, take the bad, let's compromise and make it the way that the citizens of Freeman will hopefully be proud of and not mad at us, even with this plow.
Well, I would like to, when it gets to the aggregate, I'd like to go with your idea of having them do a 6-foot section so we can check it out.
It's not uncommon in these types of things to have them provide a sample section so the buyer knows exactly what they're getting.
What,
Yeah,
and when,
because there's a difference.
That's part of the
There's a
bid
difference in
package.
the
So the
type.
bid package would still include exposed aggregate, but yet before anything's installed, there would be a sample for the council to review and
Okay.
to make any adjustments if we need to use finer rock or anything like that.
when Mayor Walter referred to not having it look like an airport runway, that is the other safety feature. I mean, aesthetically, this looks better than an straight, but it truly does calm and slow traffic. I know sometimes people will say, oh, but I had to slow down. And that's actually what you want people to do on your main street.
And that brings up another point as far as losing parking space.
We
You
check that
can't,
all
you
out
cannot, you
too.
cannot park where these,
Curb
what
extensions.
I call them, bump outs. Carol. But you can't park there anyway, they're marked off, I know there was one person, on Main Street, and he was, well, I'm gonna lose my parking spot. Well, guess what, go lucky, there's yellow lines there, you don't have it anyway, and
It's
there's,
in there, yeah.
So, the bump out's basically going where we yellow paint the corners because of visibility, so there's really nothing being lost as far as parking.
I don't think there's any parking lost from my knowledge. I mean,
I don't,
We're going with wider spaces though to accommodate the
Oh, sure.
larger
Yeah.
vehicles.
Yeah, yeah.
But
In that-
we
in that
studied
case,
traffic
yeah.
counts and we're good, we can accommodate.
We're not going Walmart parking?
Well, I guess I would, because we put a lot of consideration into this, and I did weigh out what the citizens came to me and was saying, and I took that to our board. And so I guess I feel comfortable with this, and I would like to make a motion that we accept the plan as stated.
Second.
call roll.
Jacobson,
No.
sorry,
Yes.
Schoenwald,
Yes.
Jaden,
Yes.
Waltner,
Yes.
Gearing,
No,
What do we got?
Light bulbs.
Lighting.
Lights.
the lighting question on lighting on Main Street.
What are our options here? You explained them, I know, but
Okay,
Well, I like the double. I just wish they matched Sixth Street, going up like that.
I don't like the ones on Sixth Street anyway, though.
Well, maybe
Maybe we
we'll
get
replace them
Northwestern
someday.
to change them for us. We're paying.
I like the double.
well, they're just like the ones on the 6th Street, only they're double.
Yeah, they,
Oh, they're nicer. I think they had more class.
if we had some, I think they're,
So-
all right.
these are the ones Northwestern has.
We don't have that.
We have it on your sample,
These
the
are the ones that
5.
Northwestern's can offer.
These are all gonna be LED, right? Whatever
Yes.
we go with will be LED.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
So where do these come from?
Those would be,
Probably them.
those would be contractor furnished and, as part of the bid package, so.
And the wiring's all underground, right?
Wiring's all underground, correct.
Can you
Yeah.
explain that with Northwestern, how that?
Yeah, so, we had an electrical consultant do the street lighting design, and we incorporated the features that came back to us from the committee with regards to the historical lighting in the business district from Railway to Fifth Street, and that was the dual acorn light fixture that you see in your handouts there. And we were then gonna go with the, I guess I'd call it conventional street lighting, which is post and arms and the light fixtures from Railway going north to County Road. So that would not be historic lighting, that would be conventional street lighting. The input we had from some of the city staff is, well, we would prefer not to have to own and maintain the wiring and the light fixtures. Northwestern does all that now. Is there any way we can work with Northwestern to install and maintain some of that? So we did have some conversations with Northwestern Energy, and basically, they provided basically their catalog of fixtures there. So you have a single acorn option or some of the other options that were like on 6th Street. So the option before you basically is that you could select from that catalog of fixtures and say, we're just gonna go with Northwestern Energy to furnish and install all the lighting. Or in the business district, Railway to 5th Street, we like the double acorn lighting, so we'll include that in the plans for the contractor to purchase and install. Northwestern Energy would still do all the conduit installation and wiring, but the contractor would furnish the light fixtures. Under that scenario, the city would then own those historic light fixtures and be responsible for maintaining the light fixtures. Northwestern Energy would continue to maintain all the wiring underground that they would be installing. So that's.
Thank you.
And additionally, it allows the option for banners, or there have been some confusion about Christmas decorations and how that would be handled. So that would give the city control over that part of it. But the city wouldn't have to maintain the wiring end of it and all that.
Correct.
So we'd have
But
to change the bulbs and that kind of stuff then?
Whatever, yep.
Is there any other wiring, overhead wiring gonna be removed as part of this?
Well, whatever on the light poles, I guess, would be
Gone.
so.
I mean, there are other places along Main Street where there's overhead line over.
I would assume that those would stay in place.
Oh,
Whatever's
yeah.
crossing the street would probably still continue to stay in place. It's just whatever overhead wiring is along Main Street to feed the lighting system, that would go away.
Northwestern might actually take the opportunity at that time to clear it, since the street will be open to dirt.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'd like to pursue that because it's very advantageous to have at least another route out of town to take a building out or to bring a building in.
Yeah.
Where you don't need to.
I think we should.
Yeah,
I can only speak from personal experience that when we've had that issue that we have, when the street was opened up to dirt and no more pavement, we went ahead and put our stuff underneath with conduit. So I would, that's just an assumption.
But we should push them to make sure they do it.
I think so.
And they'll have outlets on the top that you.
Yeah, the poles come with outlets on the top, so you can, for Christmas lighting, things like that. So the contractor would then basically install the concrete footing, because all the poles would be on a 6 foot deep, 2 foot diameter footing, and the poles get bolted to those footings. So the contractor would install the footing, and then the light poles, and then Northwestern Energy would do the wiring and the conduit. And then, under that scenario, the system would not be metered, and it would just continue to be, I believe their agreement is they charge you on a per light basis.
So can we get one that stays on all the time like we have now?
That might be extra. So that's, obviously, that's an element of our plans that we would want to clarify in the bid documents to, so we know how to bid that work, whether the contractor's furnishing, the historic lighting, and then Northwestern Energy would be doing everything else.
I make a motion that the contract provides the city with a double acorn style lighting and Northwestern wires it.
Second that.
Sorry,
Yes.
Schoenwald.
Yes.
Jaden,
Yes.
Waltner,
Yes.
Gearing,
Yes.
Jacobson.
Yes.
And the third thing. Is there three things?
The
Well, that was
Third
it.
and Fourth Street,
Was that, oh,
We're gonna have to decide, gentlemen. Lonnie brought up it's a good point, and basically what it is, we're looking at side streets on
Oh.
Third and Fourth Street, okay? Whether you want to have them go ahead and do that and make a decision down the road, but you're gonna have engineering, you're gonna pay for the engineering fees, whether you say yes to it or no to it. Or do you wanna set that aside for now?
You want my opinion?
Yeah.
We do it.
Do it.
Do it.
I agree.
Railway's gonna be
That's
brand new.
what I'm asking.
Third Street's gonna be
I'm
brand new
asking.
going east or
With
west
curb
of
and
me.
gutter, right?
What?
With curb and gutter
Yes.
going both ways.
Yeah.
Yes.
It wouldn't be.
On
gutter,
Third and
that-
Fourth.
I think I did ask that. It would not be
well,
gutter,
the
right?
estimate we had provided was just replacing the surfacing as is, basically. But, so if we're gonna do curb and gutter all the way, then, yeah, there would be some
Okay.
There's
some
only
cost
one-
for that.
There's only one part, and that's on Fourth Street where it goes west that has no curb and gutter.
Yeah,
Okay.
correct,
That's the
yeah.
only one, so everything else would be replaced as is.
Okay.
That's was.
And can you address what you told us with sidewalks and ADA?
Yeah, and so, normally when you're making improvements to the street, the law now is with ADA improvements is when you're making improvements to the street, you should be making the ADA improvements as well. So that's going in and making all the adjacent sidewalk along those improvements ADA accessible as well,
Is
so.
it should be or will?
Will, basically. It's will, so the will comes in.
Or may.
The will comes in as far as somebody bringing a complaint and then, but it is will.
Sued.
So I'm taking it Lonnie Jaden wants to make a motion to include Third and Fourth Street, one block each way,
Yes.
With curb.
but it would be called out separately, that we would still have it would be a separate, it's not one project, it would be an addendum, and we'll look at it.
To the project.
What's
The
that?
way,
No, it could be a bidding option.
yeah, it would be a bid alternate.
There you go.
Is
Yeah.
that correct? You'd like
Correct.
to structure as a bid alternate?
Could be thrown out if it really.
I didn't
comes
mean
in
to put
ridiculous.
words in
If it
your
comes in
mouth.
way too much, yeah, but otherwise, we're just stupid not to do it.
Mhm.
Agreed.
No, now's the
Not
time.
even try to find out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
agreed.
Now's the time.
It's
We
worth
would
it.
include it all as one option, not Third Street as one option.
No,
and
all-
Fourth Street.
all.
All as one.
All or none.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. All right.
All cement or
That would be, I believe the conversation at that time was asphalt
Asphalt.
pavement.
It's
Yeah.
asphalt now, so.
asphalt is fine.
Okay. So we would want to get some geotechnical boring so we exactly know what's underneath those roads, how thick the asphalt is, gravel, things like that. And then we'll have to provide a proposal for this additional design services as well. So there would be we'll have some surveying and design work
So your
associated with
60%
it.
just became 50% complete.
Probably, yeah, but the deadline stayed the same.
Yep.
Do we have a motion on?
What we've decided, well, there's gonna be a public meeting coming up, correct? That has to be done. Well, when we met with Paul, whatever day it was this week, last week, we decided it might be prudent to invite, it sounds like special invitation, but the people that are, the businesses and houses that this is directly gonna affect, if you're following what I'm saying. And have an open house, if you will. And Paul would be here, I'll probably be here, whom it'd have to be non-quorum, and we've sent out letters to all these people. I think Blaine's even approached several of them and so forth. A little more informal, to make them a little more at ease, encouraging them to come rather than a big public meeting, that they might be able to ask questions that they may not, feel quite comfortable enough, and that we're gonna be having that in a week and so forth. But FYI, So I think that's a good route to go, is we've gone down the streets and every property owner and so forth that is affected by this, how their business is gonna be affected or not affected, residences and so forth. And so, just for your information, and then down the road, I don't know when we're ready, I guess there'll be a timeline on that too. We'll have a public meeting for the general public and come in.
Yep, we can do that before it
Or
goes.
did we decide?
Yeah,
I don't
that's
remember.
related to our next grant application.
yeah.
I believe,
So-
the hearing.
Were you gonna be here for the?
Yeah.
We still have that motion here on the table.
From one that I made for him?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Schoenwald,
Yes.
Jaden,
Yes.
Waltner,
Yes.
Gearing,
Yeah.
Jacobson,
Yes.
sorry.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you, Paul. Let's see, we skipped around here. Carol, what do you have?
This has been a very busy time, but a very exciting development time for the city of Freeman. So you had my report. I'll just highlight a few of the items. Obviously, we are very, very busy coordinating various elements of the Westward View addition with purchase agreements, covenant, meeting different requirements there. We do have serious buyer interest, so that is especially exciting. I had an invitation from Kevin Larson recently and did a 5.5-minute interview with KYNT Radio last week. It aired twice with the focus on the Westward View addition. The Development Corporation also owns properties, as you know, in
Anything else we need
the
to do?
Waltner Addition and Industrial Park. And we also are working with serious buyers there as well. So collaboration is a big thing right now. We're so excited for all the different, I've said excited a lot, but we're really happy about all the collaboration that's taking place involving the Growth Foundation, Development Corporation, and the City of Freeman. So this is kind of a new thing, so everybody's feeling their way, but in the end, it results in revenue for our community. I submitted the grant application that hopefully, if awarded, we hope to receive 3/4 funding for a new ambulance. That is something that we had hoped to get. I believe Josh Anderson said it was something we'd planned to do maybe 2 years ago. So I'm not sure when we'll find out about that. Obviously, the Main Street project has still had lots of details and coordinating to, lead to tonight's meeting. And I did speak with Paula Heisinger from the DOT, and they do come out by themselves. They used to come and have city people go with them, but they come on their own and they scope out our Main Street, check it all out. And she said they are in the process right now of scoring the applications, and then it would go to their commission, and she expects that we would hear, this would be for the grant from the DOT, that we'd be qualified for hopefully up to, not guaranteed, but up to $600,000 for this project. So we're optimistic, but November is when they expect to be able to tell us. I attended the inaugural conference of the South Dakota Economic Development Professionals Association in Fort Pierre a couple of weeks ago. South Dakota was the only state that did not have their own Professional Economic Development Association, so that was formed late last year. I am a member and went to that. They address things like workforce, recruitment, housing, infrastructure, the legislature, marketing and social media. The whole experience was just pure gold. Plus, it was wonderful to talk to other people who
have different takes on some things we've done or things they're doing that might, be something we can try. So that was wonderful. I do a lot of time-sensitive communication on behalf of the city of Freeman and just look for lots of opportunities to market and brag about Freeman. So there's my report. And I think maybe in new business, Mayor Walter will probably bring up some of the items that would relate to the council with regard to industrial park properties or properties in the Waltner addition. Obviously, you can't grow your town if you don't have a road to drive into your business, like some gravel, or you don't have access to water or electricity, that sort of thing. So some of those things do involve some commitment from the city, but overall, hopefully together, people working on that, once we start filling in a few of those spaces. We have 10 acres in the industrial park just south of Kelly Canodal there. So a lot of times those types of things build momentum so we can bring more people. And like Lonnie and Terry both mentioned about people moving to Freeman, I've been compiling welcome packets, and it's been just incredibly interesting and rewarding to hear about the people who are choosing Freeman. They're coming from Idaho. They're bringing generations of their family and their coworkers who also have children to attend our schools. We have people who are just so happy to be here, and we hope that this just all continues. So all of the things you've addressed this evening are part of that for the future of Freeman. So thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Other business? Mr. Euchre, do you have anything?
We got our Purple Wave check today, so $49,850 for all three items. We made the cut today.
What taxes
So-
got coming out of that?
That's all I have for that.
Okay, thank you. Tabitha?
So Greg painted the poles at the parks, so they're looking way better than they were before. He got it done very quickly. I had a couple of people ask me about a dog park. And my understanding is that that's come up in the council before, is that right?
Lonnie just brought it up.
I'm the only one.
Oh.
It's, you see that West
side
View
of this?
addition
Is
there?
that where it's gonna go?
Well, where our old tin shed is, that we store salt and all that junk, and the old pump house after that's all cleaned out, just making a dog park there. I don't think it costs much money, but
Well, I looked into some fencing, they recommend 5-foot fencing, and we'd need some benches and the waste and sanitizing and stuff. And it was right around $7,900, and that was for, I'm really bad at square footage and what this area would cover, but it was $6,200 for 30,000 square feet. How big is that?
3/4 of an acre.
Yeah, 100 by 300.
Is that too big? I mean, what's?
Depends on
I
how
just
big
wanted
your
to
dog
get
is.
in.
Your dog is.
I just wanted to get an idea, and so that's fencing with the gate and all of that, but,
600 by 50.
okay. So my question is if that's something that we as a council think that it would benefit. Again, I think dogs have just become very part of the family. I know ours is. So it's, one of the people that brought it to me is the groomer in town, and she just has so many people asking her about a dog park. They've asked her to build a dog park, and that's clearly not something that she's wanting to do or can do. So are there is there a location that we could put something like this? Is that something we would be behind doing? What kind of steps do I need to take to?
So you're saying the tin shed area is where you were looking at that time?
yeah, I mean, that's
Tear it down.
land available that we already
Still
own.
good, actually.
Or out by the
Walnut,
The detention,
Yeah, we own that down out there too.
Walnut addition.
That's all grass with trees too.
It'd be
Kind of a
easier
pain in
to-
the butt to mow then, once the fence is in there.
It'd be easier to develop than where the tin sheds are.
At this point.
Less work,
And it's by the parks,
Yeah.
kinda.
by both of them.
Is anybody against?
No,
No.
No.
No, I think that's,
I mean, that's what I think what she's asking. and
No, I think it's a
I
good
don't know
idea.
how-
yeah,
Okay.
that'd be all right.
Is
So,
there-
you know, find a place and.
Okay, so by the Walner, in the Walner edition?
Well, where our detention pond is, we own, what, 300 feet? I don't know whatever. we
I would have
own
that
to.
map. I can, we can
Yeah,
pull it up.
what I would do is go to the FCDC and say, hey, this is what I'd like to do, what do you think this would work? Is what I would-
Okay, okay,
You know, see what they're willing to
Or we
give
could put
up.
it on Main Street.
right. Thought about it.
A little small.
On the corner.
Well, I didn't know if,
Yeah.
you know, north of the community center toward the back side, you know, so it'd be not like right there for events. But if, you know, like that back side of that area would work, very shaded too.
You mean the north side?
Yeah, where the wells are.
The
Where
north
the
side of
wells
the
are.
community center, but
The
the
northeast
east
kind of part.
side of it.
More on the east half, not on the west half.
Most will
Right.
use it.
I guess that's available
That's a
too.
possibility.
That'd
You know,
probably be more
what are you gonna
accessible
use it
than
for?
there.
Are we ever gonna use it for anything?
You can't dig there.
Cut it?
It's got
The wells are there
little
for the-
wells in there, you can't dig there.
Right, so it would
And
be
water-
a
Good
good
idea.
above-ground option type
Yeah,
of thing.
and water is one thing that the people that brought this to me, they were like, well, if water was available for like getting their dogs water. And so
Should be
I
from
guess
the
that would be at
building.
least close if
It's
there's,
pretty easy though.
That'd be easy.
Well, these wells are for heat.
yeah, I'm just saying, since there's a building there, you
Yeah,
know.
Come out of the
there's-
building.
Yeah,
Hydrant.
Yeah.
yeah.
that'd be all right. We don't use that, we just mow it now. So.
And it wouldn't require as much prep.
Yeah,
Site
it'd be
prep.
much quicker to get done.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
We own that.
Okay. All right, well, I'll do some more numbers, and it's probably something that we would wait till next year to do, just with winter coming and.
We'd have to close it during the rabbit festival.
That might not go over so well there.
My dog would love that. Okay, the other thing is, we do have some money in the budget for like parks and pool. And I talked with the staff at the pool before they closed, and they kind of gave me a list of some of the things that they were needing. Like a few of the ladders I noticed weren't in last year. And so it's my understanding that a couple of them are broken. So I don't know what, I would need guidance probably from you on like what we need to get to replace those. But they asked for a couple of lifeguard chairs and those types of things. But one of the things, I mean, I have kids that go to the pool on like a regular basis, and the one side that we have is kind of boring. I mean, it'd be nice to bring in something new. We'd been in Yankton, and they have this like climbing wall. I printed a couple of these. And I did get a price for it. I also checked with Seth on insurance, and he said it would not affect our insurance. I'm thinking like the west side of the deep end, it would just be like one of these. The west side of the deep end, which would
West or
allow-
east?
Sorry, the east side, yeah, the east side where
Well, there's no board.
there's no board, yeah. And then, so this company, if we order it this year yet, that price is with the 10% discount. And then they have all the like install stuff. I don't know if that's something city-wise we can do, or if we bring somebody in to install.
Is this a picture of one unit or two
This
units?
is two, so it would just be that one side of it. So I guess I'm interested in any concerns other than the insurance piece, since we're okay there. Seth did say that the insurer would have some suggestions, I'm sure safety suggestions that are also addressed from the company. If you think it's a good idea, not a good idea.
You said you have money in the budget for it, or?
Yeah. Yep.
My question is, at what point in time do we start looking at upgrading our whole pool system, period? Like a brand new pool?
Yeah.
Because we have towns around us that have much better pools than us, and I think we lose out to them because of that.
You're right, Tim.
You think Main Street was expensive?
Well, I know. Well, and,
You know, that was,
and I don't think it's something that
it's a
becomes just.
legitimate question.
Go ahead.
No, it's a legitimate question. That was number 3 on my, housing obviously was number 1, Main Street was number 2, and the swimming pool. And I I wasn't gonna strike out with, start with three
Oh, yeah.
being an amenity. And so, but I agree with you that there comes, and Tabitha and I have even spoken, that there comes a time when we're gonna have to, that thing is, I'm 66, it went up when I was 10, so it's 56, it's old.
Well, and I'm on parks and pools too, so I guess I don't.
But-
But at some point in time, we have a lot of stuff in that park that needs
Well, tennis courts,
addressed. Yeah, tennis courts.
and they're
is
used a
one.
lot.
But
They are,
They are?
at some point in time, I think we need to start looking at
all the
Long
time.
range
some more appropriate amenities and better taken care of amenities there, just to service this town, because I really do believe a lot of the steps that we are taking as this council and going forward with things, we are gonna start seeing an increase in population.
The bad part is that park is so small.
I know. So we gotta kinda,
Another thing that probably should be considered would be the picnic shelter areas too,
No, those need to be replaced. They're,
because they're,
They're painted now.
Yeah.
yeah, they're painted, but there are a lot of towns that I've been
Said
to
replace.
recently that have actually enclosed rooms that
Nice,
you can
yeah,
rent there.
they're nice.
I just think, we have sand volleyball courts there that I think that maybe not necessarily do they need to be in that park, can we put them in Lions Park, or is there somewhere else in town that we can actually put them? And that frees up space.
They're used a little bit, not like the tennis courts though.
No, yeah. I know.
Tennis courts are used almost.
And those would
Daily,
be
nightly,
addressed.
evening.
Yeah.
I commend you for bringing that up, because that is an issue, and I don't have kids, gonna have grandkids now that I can get drug around with this stuff. And yeah, our swimming pool is so archaic, it was designed for swim teams and diving boards it's just not when I take my grandkids, it's not conducive to play with them. I mean, it's just not there. And, you go to you go, Lennox just put one up and so forth, and, I mean, it's just a whole different dynamic now. But, having said that,
They're expensive.
that is something that I think maybe, there's something that can be grabbed hold of, and maybe start looking into that.
Well, I'd like
There are
to see-
financing options is where, that's always
I'd
the
like to
deal.
see some community involvement in with it. I know a lot of the towns around, it's not just the city that does it, the community gets behind it.
No, I agree.
And they hold special events, whatever, to raise money for that kind of stuff.
Well, that's how this one was built.
Yeah.
Sure it was.
Rabbit hunts, constant rabbit
I
hunts.
remember going to them, yeah. I mean, it was,
So,
but it's something we need to,
and I
Put it on the
think,
list.
by all means, I think the climbing wall is a great idea to put there, but we're just gonna.
We need to start looking at the bigger
We keep throwing money.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
This is
This is
something
something we
that
can
can
do
be
now,
adapted to
yes,
any pool.
absolutely.
That's-
a new swimming pool is a ways away, unless somebody that wants to donate the money. We'll gladly take it.
okay?
So are we okay with the climbing wall for now?
Yeah.
Anything else,
It's
Tabitha?
You
eight.
need a motion for that, don't you?
yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Can I have that?
Sure.
I make a motion to purchase a climbing wall, also to replace the ladders and some chairs for the lifeguards at the pool.
Do you want the rest of my wish
I'll
list?
second that.
Well, this is on the pool.
Yeah.
Stop while you're ahead.
The other things weren't as, this would be the campground and the indoor toilets. Replacing all of those.
That's-
Which
that's
is like
Well, this is
six.
just the pool, yeah.
Some of those are in the pool.
Oh, those toilets that are.
Yeah.
Oh.
They're all just old and, like the park ones don't flush the greatest and, I don't know.
They're bad,
Let's start with this motion and then.
so.
Yeah, I second it, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
I don't know what all needs to have a motion. Is it just like the bigger items?
that's kind of a.
I mean,
maintenance-
toilets kind of seem like a,
Maintenance
That's-
issue.
You know?
Yeah, that's a maintenance issue. This
Okay.
is more of a wish list type
Yeah.
thing, like you said, so.
okay.
I think toilets are just something that is a maintenance issue.
Okay.
And thank you for checking out the insurance on that, because that was gonna be my first question about it, so thank you for doing your due diligence there.
Okay.
All right, roll. Gearing,
Yes.
Jacobson,
Yes.
sorry,
Yes.
Schoenwald,
Yes.
Jaden,
Yes.
Waltner.
Yes. The only other question I have is how's the diving board? Have we replaced that lately and what shape is that in?
In probably 10 years.
I'm just wondering at what shape that's in. We should look at it. If there's money in the budget, it'd be better to do this year.
Is that the one Steve Ike broke?
Diving boards are also very expensive.
Well, that's
I
why.
know they are. That's why I thought
Yeah,
we
they
probably
are.
should
I
check.
don't know if I can fit it in my list this year.
Well, it depends what the
I'll
budget.
check on the
Check what the
pricing
budget
and-
is,
yeah.
too.
Okay.
Yeah, we were
Great.
looking at signage also, and FCD was interested in giving some money toward that too, either just near the campground or near the camp, or also in the picnic shelter, swimming pool area.
Oh, like
Some
a
of that
kiosk
is-
with
Like a
directions
Right, like a
where.
kiosk. I did replace, there's
Yeah.
a display box on the side of the bathhouse, and I was asked to check into that, and Scott and I discovered that it probably hasn't been opened like in 5 years, so it was, there's no way you can open it. So I did make a whole new display, and it's like plastered over the front of it, because we don't want to order a new display case until we know if we want to do something bigger with a kiosk for signage, so.
And with that kiosk, there are some that are kind of like a visitor center where it's water safe, but like where you could even put some brochures in it. And that's something that Freeman lacks, is any sort of visitor center where you can get information on businesses, so.
And general wayfinding
Yeah.
to let people know what we have here, so.
So,
Plus a kiosk would be more visible than, you go put your money and then you see the big thing up there on the side of the building, so.
yeah.
And there are a lot of people who don't realize, like, when you're at the campground, you see, oh, there's a park over there. But there are so many people that are at our park that have no idea there's a campground. And so some of the kiosks look very much like they blend in and look nice with the coloring, like, of the playground equipment, just a little, roof, but 2 or 3 sided, and, but they very quickly add up to cost $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 each, so.
We're gonna put up a big sign. And it's gonna say, for more information about Freeman, cross the street to the west,
Right,
knock on the door.
yep, right here,
They will
police
tell you.
chief.
That'd be real easy, cheap too, for us. Anything else, Tabitha?
just that Carol, the 3rd and 4th, is gonna be going to a Dakota Resources event.
It's all free,
Yes, it's all free.
except mileage.
So just so she's, if you wonder
Okay,
where she is,
good.
that's all.
Mr. Gearing?
I think Mr. Sari, our spokesmodel, will take care of that.
I see you got the hole filled.
I
Eh.
think they did,
Who did?
the street guys that
Okay.
did 81.
And, I guess, their signs are illegal on Main Street. So you might wanna tell a certain business owner that's mad at us to take his sign off Main Street.
Oh, yes. Is the one that fell down?
No, yeah,
No.
there was a different one.
There's,
It was a one that you carry out.
Oh,
You
yeah.
carry out and put it on the street.
Take care of that.
Blaine?
Just a few things, met with Streets Department, went over some things, and thanks for taking time for that, Dewey. That kind of nice to catch up on what they're doing and things that we hear, throughout the week, so we tell them. The hot topic was manhole covers on 7th Street, and they measured them, and the ruling is 2.5 inches, at least, right? At least 2.5 inches.
Now, closer to 4.
Okay.
These are at 2.5.
They're at 2.5, and they need to be 4. And I swear they're 4 inches, but they're not. They're not. So at this time, they're gonna put some some like asphalt,
Millions.
millings over it, so it doesn't, make such a big bump. And I think they looked at yours, too, on Poplar, yeah, cause it's same
Down the
thing.
street.
Yeah,
So was that just like gravel then that's gonna be pushed out, or what do you do there?
Next year, we're gonna cut them out, like in front of the funeral home,
mhm.
lift them up, put razors in them, and concrete it with a diamond. It'll be flat level, kind of at the hospital too.
You know, so thank you, we
You
appreciate it.
gonna do that all over? Cause there's a couple on the wall too.
We'll look at.
Right beside with that sign that says not an exit. At the end of that main street.
There's a sign that says that?
There might be one that shows up there someday.
And, yeah, we touched on a lot of different items, mentioned the sewer, and I didn't realize that the, you know, that there's some irrigation for underneath.
Aerators.
Aerators, thank you, aerators that are not working correctly, but they have to go through a procedure to test the water, and there's algae on the water now. They have to wait for that to go off before they can test it to pass because of some minnows and.
Minnows?
Yeah, and I mean, you know, I'm just learning a lot here, you know, and a lot of people, they don't understand that, yet we smell it. Why? Well, that's why, because we can't fix the problem, because by law, we can't until we can pump it out, and we have to get the green light to pump it out so we can do our repairs.
When's the last time we took the sludge out?
When we did it, 2016.
When?
2016,
It shouldn't be too bad yet then.
we're gonna find out.
Yeah, so,
Well, remember the last time we did it when,
Did you pull a sample, yeah?
yeah, that was bad.
Yes, we pulled one today.
Today you did?
good. And mentioned some things about the golf course, and again, that's a timing thing. And Charlie, was there something that I'm missing that you want me to bring up, or?
Just ditch mowing and
Yep, the ditch mowing, yep, they got the mower fixed, they're gonna go through the detention ponds and,
When's the golf course gonna, how long does that stay open?
For sure the 31st, but,
Depends on how nice these days are.
right,
Yeah.
right. Last year, there were some really nice days in November. So right now, the last I've heard is for sure through the end of the month.
yeah, because they have to blow all the lines out, obviously, before it freezes, or you know, freezes hard, and then they have to have all the irrigating heads to replace at that time. So again, it's all timing, you know, so. But, no, all in all, going all right, and again, I do appreciate your guys' time in the mornings like that, because it does help, and then we can relay what we hear throughout the weeks too,
I
so.
think the only thing we didn't get you was the price on the 2 pumps that are out there.
Okay, yeah,
Sitting here when you talked about that.
right, because we do have, yeah, because I think it is in the financials for that, so, yeah. Good. That's all I have.
Talk with Dewey and them about the TVs out at the dump. I don't know
No.
how we want to address that, because I'd almost like to get to the point where we just don't take TVs. I don't care what we charge to take them or whatever, it's not worth the hassle.
It isn't, but they're gonna.
There's a bunch of them that are being left on the ground because when they first started gathering them, they threw them just in the back of the trailer. Now everything's filled up at the back of the trailer, nobody's put anything to the front of the trailer. So now Dewey has got John and some of them on a Wednesday during the day when it's open, or whatever day, and gonna move them to the front, throw most of them up into the trailer, and then gonna get tubes out of the ones with the wood boxes, right? And throw the wood into the trash. But right now, Jim is looking at where we can get rid of these TVs at. Sioux Falls is $40 a TV.
$40 TV, and then Lake Norton, the guy that takes the 10, if he wants to grab them, he usually grab them.
Did he get a hold of him yet? So no, he was
Left
into
a
that.
message with him.
But the other option that they came up with is maybe getting one of those pods that we set out there. And then we have the pod sit there, fill it full of TVs, they come in, pick it up, take it, drop it off to wherever the TVs can go. So as soon as we know more prices and stuff, I'll come back with that to discuss that. But
Obviously, we're gonna have to charge more to get rid of them.
TVs are just a hassle.
I didn't realize they were that big until we had that discussion on yesterday.
Well, they are, but there needs to be somewhere for them to go.
Otherwise, they're gonna be by the
They're gonna be trash
And-
cans.
and-
They're
and-
gonna be in the-
They're gonna be trash cans.
Yeah, they'll be. in the
Just take a
trash
hammer
can,
and
yeah.
smash them up, put them in trash cans.
And-
And that's where they'll be.
And how many are going in and out because they don't want to pay to drop them off there anyway?
No,
A few, but
I guess there's a
we're
few.
still offering a place.
Well, and we need to talk about pricing then too, if we keep doing it, because we had been advertising that it is $20 per TV, but I learned later they've been prorating it and accepting less for smaller
It
ones, like
depends, it
$5.
depends what, I don't know what they're getting for the flat screens, because that's different.
Yeah, flat screens are different. I don't remember.
But if it costs us a lot to get rid of them.
It used to be you paid per pound. So depending how big the TV was, and we had estimated it out at one point, but that may have changed what the price per pound is by now.
Right.
I don't know.
We just want to be on the same page.
But if
Just
they're,
find
let
someone
Jim
to
find
pay.
out information.
We just don't want to be losing money.
Right.
Exactly.
You know.
But look at the pod thing, I think that might be the most reasonable. I mean, I don't know, but I don't know what they
Yeah,
cost.
that's-
but,
And then they're
yeah.
not visible to everybody.
Well, they can walk right
The
into
nice
it there.
thing of that is you walk right in, and
Yeah.
you're not walking in a semi with stairs that go straight up.
Mhm. So those are things that are going on out there. That's it.
Nothing right now.
What's that, like a
Yeah.
shipping container?
Yeah, shipping container.
Neighbors over there.
We could probably get one of those.
I don't call them pods, I call them shipping containers.
Well,
They call theirs a
I've got
storage
three
unit.
things here.
there's a company called Pods. That's why I call them Pods.
Yeah.
We had, jeez, I'm so old. Either this morning or yesterday morning, I can't remember which morning it was, but we met with the Development Corporation concerning the West Side thing. They have an opportunity to sell a lot, which would be, is it on Olive Drive, you said? It'd be just north of the Northwestern Public Service
Between the storage and
storage, or
Northwestern.
whatever they're, yeah.
So-
And basically what they're asking is street gravel. I mean, and it really needs to, because where the gentleman who has the storage unit there, I drove back in there, and it really, I mean, it's been driven out, I'm sure, taking a right-hand turn there, so, I mean, they'd like to sell it, but I'm, kind of want to know what your thoughts are. It's basically a couple of side dumps of gravel, and I don't
That's a
think.
street that was supposed to be put in.
It's our responsibility.
Yeah, so
It's supposed to
I,
actually have water and sewer in it, because we've got people that have a building there that,
There should be water and sewer all the way down.
yeah, that should be done. And that, nobody talked about it.
what the Development Corporation wants to know, they're not gonna sell the lot if we can't provide a road. And I said there should be no problem unless I find out here that
I
we
think-
can't. There's no water or sewer.
Just throw gravel on it and then we can revisit the water and sewer and extension of the road,
Well,
because we're
they
not
they
hurting
don't,
anything,
they,
just
they
gravel.
know there's
That's
no
all
water
we're
and
asking
sewer.
right now.
All he wanted was electrical, and that's none of our,
Yeah, that's none of our stuff.
The other the other issue that came up was in the industrial park on the east side of 81. They'd like to sell, the industrial park would be the northwest corner. I think they have a chance to west corner. It'd be, yeah, just frontage property there. That would need sewer and water. Now, that was bid out once, there should be plans. There should be plans for that.
And
We had the bid on it.
yeah, we told them
We
way
did,
back when that we'd put it in when they sell it, so if they got it sold, we'll put water. In my opinion, we'd put water and sewer in.
We should have the plans to do it, or just a matter
Yeah.
of bidding it.
so
It's probably in the safe.
they wanna know, they're not gonna sell it if, we're not gonna do it until we see until we see their plans and so forth. The manhole, which you guys were on, so you remember, the manhole and the fire plug would be right north of Kelly Canodal's driveway. And it would have to go, to the south off of Kelly, it'd have, well, probably to the
We
next
have easement,
manhole.
we have an easement in there.
At least three, yeah, getting there's not a problem.
There's the right of
But
way.
it's how far we have to go and whether, we'll look at his plans and see what kind of road he needs and so forth. it'd be gravel road. It would not be, I mean, it's nothing. So, I mean, if that is, you know, the Development Corporation wants to know, hey, you know, can we continue with this gentleman? Will you provide water and sewer? And that's what they want from you.
I feel we will.
I do too.
I'd support it.
Okay. I mean, there's no commitment at this point. You know, this last one, I don't even, by Mr. G's, there's a yield sign on Fifth Street going
West.
west. I think there should be a stop sign there,
Well,
probably because I'm always there.
From, at what corner?
On Fifth Street
Fifth
going,
and Main.
Fifth Street and Main,
Okay.
by Mr. G's there. When you're going west there,
Mm-hmm.
typically, you would take a right-hand turn there.
Mhm.
Some of us go straight.
Mm-hmm.
Now, fine, it's my fault, but the visibility is really bad there. I don't know how you're gonna improve visibility there. I know it's there, but I've been guilty also. But I know I've seen a lot, because I drive that all the time, so I notice it, I guess. And I'm wondering if we would not, and, you know, I hate stop sign, I mean, I'm never an advocate for stop signs, but I'm just wondering if that, would not warrant, I mean, there was yield, stop sign, now it's yield again, and because of, you know, sometimes there's some big stuff on that corner.
So it's a yield on Main Street going,
Going west.
It's a two-way stop.
Stop going south on Main, and it's a stop coming
East.
east
East,
on
yep.
Fifth.
yep,
And city ordinance says the mayor has absolute authority over traffic flow and signs. So do what you wanna do.
No, but I'm
We have
asking,
speed limits, you have.
I'm asking you for your, I just really, it's really,
I actually just had a situation today or yesterday, with you, forget the days. But I stopped when I didn't have to because someone didn't, you know?
okay,
Yeah, so it is a bad corner.
you and I know, we're from here.
Yeah.
People that aren't from here
Exactly.
do not know what those signs read.
Mhm.
They're presuming because they can go, you know, there might be a stop sign, go ahead.
So, I've stopped plenty of people running that yield sign at Fifth Street. And some people live here. Because they don't realize that it's there. There's a yield sign there. I'm like, oh, there's a yield sign here.
That confuses people from out of town.
Right.
When they come in on Sixth and turn down on Cherry to go on Fifth to get to Main Street, really confuses.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the people from out of town are the ones who stop there and look both ways and then proceed through the yield sign.
When Mr. G's lot is empty, it is a lot different. Sunday, put it to you this way, Sunday's a lot different than a weekday. And I don't want to discourage, I'm not picking on Jerry or
No,
anything
no,
like
no,
that.
no.
I'm glad he's busy.
Yeah.
But, you know, there could be a semi there could be,
Yeah.
what have you, and that's great, I'm happy for it. But, boy, you can't see, you really gotta, and if you're, we should always be, I know we should always be paying attention, but let's face it, that's not what happens. And, yeah.
Actually,
Oh, I didn't realize that, Lonnie. I will take it under consideration with the police chief. Okay. That's all right. Scott, do you have something else?
Oh, I'm good.
You good,
The
Mr.?
only thing I got on 26, Doug, they're coming around 233 with water meter stuff.
Oh,
They're gonna come hook the computers up.
You're gonna try to get it live
Oh,
and get the feed coming over to our computer.
of this month.
yeah, next week. Next week, Tuesday.
Okay.
At the water plant, we have internet in there
Yes.
that's not being used. I would like to have that moved from there out to the shop for the guys to use at the shop. There's internet, but I can't, who's ever on the deal has to call in. So
Oh,
put a
well, I
move
get you.
order
Okay.
in from the water plant, the main water plant building, move the internet from there out to the shop.
Machine shed or to the maintenance.
We talked about getting it there, but never did we?
I thought, they got a computer there, I'm sure they have internet there.
Do you have internet at the shop?
You get hot spots on their phone.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they should have it. We should have it.
Is, when you call it the main water plant, is it that blue building?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
the big building, yeah.
Okay.
Treatment center.
Okay.
Anybody else? Doc, you haven't said a word. Come on, you gotta speak up.
It's educational for me. I got here late, the least I could do is get some education out of it.
We don't serve lunch afterwards, so, you know. So then we need to go into executive session, I believe.
Did we talk about the next meeting?
About what?
The next meeting?
Oh, I'm sorry.
When should we start?
Terry, would you please read when the next meeting is?
Well, I have
October
a,
19th.
I have a
Stick around,
recommendation
boys.
because Blaine will be gone and I will be gone. That
Maybe.
leaves 4 if all 4 show up, if
No,
one person
I'd
doesn't.
rather have a full quorum if we can.
So I don't know if we can just push it off to November 3rd or what anybody else's thoughts
Well,
are.
when you guys will make it work?
I'm personally gone that week. I'm from 1st through the 5th, so I'm sorry. So, yeah, don't schedule it around me by no means, but.
What do we meet, the first?
Let's just go,
The
let's just
second?
go
Wanna meet the
to
second
the
one?
Wednesday.
For Wednesday?
There are 3 Tuesdays that
Third,
week.
I'm going the 14th,
3, or 30.
so.
That's what Lonnie said, the 3rd.
Third is when?
Wednesday night.
It's a Wednesday.
What's,
That's nothing I can say.
oh,
Is there anything we need? to
what would be a
get together
better
for
day
before then?
on your suggestion then?
As far as.
Yeah.
Following week?
There shouldn't be anything, should there?
think so.
The following Monday? Or you have your meeting first Monday, right?
Yeah, could we go to Monday?
Yeah, first Monday, so that'd be the 8th.
First Monday's the first.
This is the 1st.
Right,
first.
but the
Yeah.
second would be
Oh.
the 8th.
Well, I can't the 8th. I got a meeting, I might have a meeting the 8th. Depends on if they can find, buy 12 acres of ground or not.
Well, let's just go do the 3rd and be done with it.
I don't want it to end.
Can we not make a plan and then change it? I mean, do you understand, you know what I'm saying? In a week, and let everybody know, as
Just
long as,
leave it
and
there as is, and if it.
then let's see who's wrong. I mean, that sounds terrible, but that's
No,
basically
yeah.
what,
That's fine. I was just.
no.
No, that's a good point.
I knew he was gonna be gone, and if you're gonna be gone, then, that's fine.
So we're
But I want you to read when the next meeting is, because you caught it.
Tentatively when the
Next
3rd.
meeting date is Tuesday, November 2nd, 2021, at 6:30 PM. And I actually may be able to make that. Just
We'll
depends
see.
on where they sit with, if they get by that night or not.
Oh,
So that's a good point to probably just leave it because.
Was there a possibility of having to do a special meeting next week as well, depending on Stockwell?
Yeah, we'll figure that out.
Okay. Just a minute.
that's only a
That
24-hour
would be the
notice.
only thing then.
And that could be a noon hour
It could be
meeting.
at noon.
Yeah,
It would
that's
be
24-hour
short.
notice.
Yeah, noon hour or whenever, right at 5 or something.
Right. Yeah, we can't plan.
Move to go into
until-
executive session, personnel and pending litigation. Wait, there might be one more, I can't read it.
I did.
Second.
Contract negotiations.
Contract negotiations, cut
Yeah,
off
I
from
gotta
mine.
leave too.
So I did pass my reciprocity test,
All right.
but I will be gone January 31st to February 4th in Peter.
Oh, you get to spend your time out there.
Dead of winter, it's gonna be great.
It's actually not that bad up there.
Till February.
during the
Really?
time, Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's,
I will
you'll
stop
find
staying
out,
here.
this state is very odd with weather.
No.
Because that river controls
You
everything.
put snow in the hills and we